The frozen dinner that sent over 40 people to the hospital with listeria is still being sold under a different name. While you are grabbing those convenient microwave meals after a long day at work, you have no idea some of these brands are hiding ingredients that would make a chemistry teacher nervous. But which ones are the silent killers? And which ones actually deserve a spot in your freezer? Hungry Man has been feeding America since 1953. That's over 70 years of promising manly portions to hungry families. So why do their dinners still taste like they were assembled in a science lab around 1985? Here's the thing about Hungry Man, they have mastered the art of quantity over quality. You'll find those massive blue boxes dominating freezer sections from coast to coast, stacked high with promises of boneless fried chicken and Salisbury steak that will fill you up. But here's what they don't put on the packaging. Filling your stomach and satisfying your taste buds are two completely different things. The texture problem with Hungry Man is legendary, folks. Their boneless fried chicken is basically a giant chicken nugget that forgot how to be crispy. The mashed potatoes have this gluey, paste-like consistency that would work better as spackling compound than as a side dish. And their turkey dinner, the meat tastes identical to processed lunch meat straight from a deli counter. At nearly $4 per meal, you're paying premium prices for cafeteria-quality food that somehow manages to be both salty and flavorless at the same time. Makes sense, right? But texture nightmares are not the only surprise lurking in your grocery store's freezer section. Banquet has been around since the 1950s, making them one of the original frozen dinner brands. They position themselves as the budget champion, the working family's friend. But here's the dirty secret your wallet does not want you to know. That $1.88 dinner might seem like smart shopping, but you are paying for it in other ways. Nutritionists often give banquet meals a D grade for health. We are talking high sodium that will make your blood pressure monitor scream, trans fats and saturated fats that your arteries definitely do not need, and enough preservatives to keep that Salisbury steak fresh until the next ice age. Their famous Salisbury steak tastes artificial and heavy, like the mystery meat everyone hated in the school cafeteria. It has a weird texture that is simultaneously slimy and grainy. Here is the real kicker. The first ingredient in their Salisbury steak is not beef. It is mechanically separated chicken. Let that sink in for a moment. You are buying something called steak, but you are mostly eating chicken that has been pressure blasted off bones. Speaking of brands that promise comfort but deliver disappointment, Marie Callender's has been riding on Grandma's apron strings for decades. They started as a pie shop back in the 1940s, and honestly, they should have stayed in their lane. Take their meatloaf and gravy dinner. Sounds home-style, right? Wrong. The portions are completely off balance. You get a tiny slice of meatloaf drowning next to a mountain of corn and watery mashed potatoes. The meat is so gravy-soaked that it is practically liquid itself. And somehow the gravy manages to be both flavorless and extremely salty at the same time. But the real offender is their pot pie. Sure, it looks cozy on the package. Flip it over and check the serving size. Half a pie is considered one serving. Who eats half a pot pie? Nobody. That's who. So you are actually consuming 880 calories, 52 grams of fat, and almost all your daily sodium in one sitting. That velvety sauce and flaky pastry come at a cost your cardiologist would call job security. Now let's talk about a brand that lies right in its name. Lean Cuisine has been promising healthier frozen meals since 1981. Sounds great on paper, but here is what they do not tell you in those Weight Watchers friendly commercials. These meals are sodium bombs wrapped in a wellness wrapper. Their dishes contain between 400 and 900 milligrams of sodium on average. That means eating one Lean Cuisine for lunch puts you at about 30% of your daily sodium intake before you have even thought about dinner. And here is the cruel irony. When you remove fat from food to cut calories, you have to add something to make it taste like anything at all. That something is usually salt and sugar. Their steak portobello has almost 800 milligrams of sodium in a comparatively small amount of food. That is 1/3 of your daily limit in one tiny tray that will not even fill you up. The portion sizes average around 250 to 350 calories. Sounds diet-friendly until you realize you will be raiding the vending machine 2 hours later because you are starving. You are essentially paying for the illusion of healthy eating, not the reality. Speaking of false advertising, Healthy Choice has been fooling Americans since 1989. The name alone does half the selling. Who does not want to make a healthy choice? But when you actually examine what is in those convenient trays, the story gets a lot less wholesome. Their zero meals, which are supposed to be low-carb options, feature cauliflower rice that is either chewy or hard, never actually soft and fluffy like real rice should be. Their plated balsamic garlic steak meal features beef so tough it is nearly impossible to chew through, paired with a sauce that is pungent and acidic instead of balanced. And do not get me started on those mashed potatoes that show up across their lineup. Grainy, watery, lacking any flavor whatsoever. How do you mess up mashed potatoes this badly? For a brand that slaps healthy right in the title, they sure do rely heavily on sodium and sugar to make their meals palatable. Boston Market built an empire on rotisserie chicken and home-style sides at their restaurants. Pretty good stuff, honestly. But their frozen meals tell a complete different story. Take their buffalo-style chicken mac and cheese. Of its 61 grams of carbohydrates, only 3 grams come from fiber. That means you are getting 12% of your daily fiber value while consuming a mountain of refined carbohydrates. The sodium count on some of their meals pushes past 1,800 milligrams. That's almost your entire daily limit in one tray. You are paying for a brand name, not for actual Boston Market food. Stouffer's is the top-selling frozen dinner brand in America as of 2025, which tells you more about marketing than about quality. Their macaroni and beef dinner ranks as one of the worst frozen meals you will find anywhere. The ingredients get all mushed together in a way that ends up tasting like mystery meat. Their beef enchiladas are surprisingly bland for what should be a rich, flavorful Mexican dish. Even their classic lasagna turns into a soggy mess in the microwave. The noodles that are not covered in sauce get hard and crunchy, while everything else becomes a gluey disaster. At around $5 per individual meal, Stouffer's is charging premium prices for food that is nostalgic in the worst way possible. Great value Walmart store brand seems like smart shopping. Why pay for a name brand when the generic is right there? Cheaper. Well, here's why. Their boneless fried chicken dinners are some of the worst on the market. The chicken comes out soggy when you follow the instructions exactly. Fried chicken should be crispy. That's literally the whole point. The mashed potatoes have a texture that's too chunky, and the corn needs so much salt and pepper that you wonder if they seasoned it at all. The brownie dessert comes out runny and gross. Signature Select from Safeway has real problems in their Mix Plus Match Frozen Meal series. Their Italian meatballs with marinara sauce features meatballs that are bland and do not taste like much of anything. The texture is off-putting, vaguely reminiscent of chewing on rubber. The sauce is subpar and strangely sticky without the flavorful Italian seasoning you would expect. Smart Ones markets itself to people trying to eat healthier, but their rigatoni pasta exposes the problems with this entire category. The portions are tiny, leaving you hungry. The vodka sauce completely fails to deliver any rich, creamy flavor. It tastes watered down and generic. You are getting less food and less satisfaction while paying comparable prices to more filling options. Bird's Eye is usually trusted for frozen vegetables, but their voila! Garlic shrimp has an artificial aftertaste that lingers even after you have had a drink and bread. The garlic sauce tastes like old, burned butter with stale garlic. Worst of all, the pasta and vegetables do not cook at the same time. You are forced to choose between perfect pasta with frozen vegetables or overdone pasta with cooked vegetables. Guy Fieri's Flavortown meals promise bold flavors from the mayor of Flavortown himself. The taste is surprisingly good, but his hot dog chili bowl contains 520 calories, 36 grams of fat, and a whopping 1,840 milligrams of sodium. That is nearly your entire day's worth of sodium in one bowl of mini hot dogs and tots. Guy built Flavortown, but he also built a one-way ticket to high blood pressure city. Taipei markets itself as Asian-inspired frozen cuisine, but their orange chicken is inferior to competitors across the board. Their beef and broccoli features rubbery meat and sauce that is somehow both too salty and lacking in actual flavor. The rice has that characteristic frozen mushiness that tells your brain something is wrong, and the sauces can come across as bland while the rice often ends up soggy. El Monterey's signature queso chicken quesadilla is high in both fat and saturated fat. But what's really concerning is the seriously lengthy ingredient list. That is a hallmark of ultra-processed foods. Studies link ultra-processed foods to serious health issues including obesity, diabetes, and some cancers. El Monterey checks all the warning boxes. Americans spend over $11 billion on frozen dinners every single year. That's billion with a B. The industry is banking on the fact that you are too exhausted after work to examine what you are actually putting in your body. At this point, you might be wondering if any frozen dinners are worth buying. The answer is yes, but you need to know where to look. First, Amy's Kitchen. This family-owned company has been making organic frozen meals since 1987, long before organic was trendy. What separates Amy's from the competition is their ingredient lists. You can actually read and understand every single thing in their products. No mystery chemicals, no preservatives with names that sound like science experiments. Their cheese enchiladas are a minor miracle according to professional taste testers. The tortillas taste like actual corn tortillas instead of cardboard. The cheese is real cheese that melts properly. Their gluten-free pasta options use rice pasta that does not turn into mush, which is incredibly rare for frozen meals. The Chinese noodles and vegetables with cashew sauce taste like something from an actual restaurant. Yes, Amy's costs more, about $5 to $6 per meal. But you are paying for organic ingredients, vegetarian options that do not taste like punishment, and meals that actually satisfy. When you can taste the difference in every bite, that premium price starts making sense. Second shock, Trader Joe's frozen meals consistently outperform major national brands. Their chicken tikka masala, under $5, tastes anything but frozen, with tender chicken, a fragrant spice sauce, and perfectly fluffy basmati rice. It heats up in minutes and could honestly pass for takeout. Their Thai green curry is rich and flavorful with tofu that actually has good texture, not the rubbery nonsense you get from other brands. Their bulgogi beef fried rice features tender, flavorful beef with rice that holds its texture instead of turning to mush. The secret is simple. Trader Joe's actually taste tests their products before selling them. Revolutionary concept, right? They reject products that do not meet their standards, instead of just slapping a label on whatever the manufacturer sends over. For around $4 per meal, Trader Joe's proves that frozen does not have to mean flavorless. You just have to shop somewhere that actually cares about quality. Finally, Zatarain's frozen meals. This New Orleans brand brought Cajun seasoning to the frozen aisle and absolutely nailed it. Their blackened chicken Alfredo made professional taste testers lose their minds. Seriously, they could not believe it came from a freezer. The sauce is creamy and it tastes like nutty, salty cheese. The chicken is not spongy like most frozen meals. It is coated in blackening spices that give the whole dish a nice kick of heat without sending you running to the fridge for milk. Here is what Zatarain's understood that other brands did not. Frozen food needs bold flavors to compensate for what the freezing process takes away. So they spiced everything generously. The result is frozen food that actually tastes like something instead of the bland, mushy disappointment most brands serve up. At around $5 per meal, Zatarain's delivers restaurant-quality Cajun flavors without requiring you to fly to Louisiana. Now let's wrap up with what really matters when you are standing in that frozen food aisle. Check the sodium first. More than 800 milligrams, think twice. More than 1,000 milligrams, that is nearly half your daily limit in one meal. Check the ingredient list. If you cannot pronounce half the words, your body probably does not want to process them either. Look at fiber content. Good frozen meals have at least 3 to 5 grams to actually keep you full. Always check serving sizes. Some companies split one tiny meal into 2 servings to make the nutrition look better. The frozen dinner industry counts on you being too tired and hungry to read labels carefully. But 5 minutes of label reading can save you from a lifetime of health problems. Your freezer deserves better than sodium bombs and mystery meat. And honestly, so do you.